I'm Jean Scally, and I am here with Rick Dilliot hosting.
What's happening, Gene?
And not too much, Rick. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for finally getting in.
I know.
This is webinar number 11, episode 11. If you're looking for your previous episodes, please go to your instant customer inbox. There's an email in there that says something about webinar link, and it includes previous webinars and a link to register for any future ones. So, getting started. Rick, why don't you tell us what Instant Customer is for anybody who's new?
Well, for anybody new, Instant Customer is the fastest, easiest way to build a list, sell books, products, services, make money, and build an intimate, authentic relationship with your prospects and customers on autopilot.
Autopilot, that's
all the tools are there.
Really important piece that you can do it automatically. If you don't have it yet, you can get it now by using this link, instantcustomer.com/get-secret. It's a private, secret little link, so share it with everybody you know. And
well, they got to watch the video.
Yeah.
They got to watch the webinar. You can't just give this out willy-nilly. You got to get them to watch the webinar. It's all about list building.
List building, right.
We have to build our own list for this as well. Come on.
Instant Customer is for smart business owners.
Small business owners, for sure. Authors, experts, speakers, consultants, and service professionals. Pretty much anyone that understands that marketing efforts of the past using the yellow pages or TV or radio are really expensive and not very effective. So build your own list, market to your list. It's really the way to go. It's much more efficient. It's more fun too.
Yeah, it's not just for this list of people here. It's for anybody that fits to one of these groups, or for anybody who wants to build a business servicing one of these groups. It's a point that I like to keep everybody in mind with.
Yeah, because the fact is most of these businesses can't or don't even want to do any of this on their own. They're not going to be very good at it. Their whole point of your turning this into a business is adding value and getting them clients.
Absolutely.
That's what they're looking for. They don't care how you get them. They just want more clients. Everything I read is, small businesses are just aching for clients, and they're willing to pay for it.
That's true. So what you're going to discover today is you'll learn from the IC pros, that'd be Rick and myself. We're going to talk about simple on-demand webinars today, what they're good for, who can use them, how to set them up.
Very important, and an easy-to-use tool here that you can really maximize really leverage your Instant Customer platform.
True. And then we'll take some questions, and Rick's got some special offers at the end of the hour. So before we begin, everybody should know that this webinar is being recorded. The replays are always available in your Instant Customer inbox, which reminds me that I need to update that inbox list. If you have any questions today, please put them in the chat box. And when you do put a question in the chat box, please make it a complete question, because we don't take these questions in order, and we may be getting back to a question after you pose it. So we won't have that screen up on everybody's screen. If you could just make a complete sentence out of it, we'll understand what you're asking, and we'll get you an answer.
And also keep your questions on topic. These webinars are, like Jean said, being recorded, and for the replay, it's very important that we stay on topic. If you do have a question that's more specific to yourself, please submit that as a support ticket just to help@instantcustomer.com. We're really looking for questions that benefit the entire group here.
Right. If you're off topic, you probably won't get addressed, only because there's only Rick and I managing this whole process, and there's a lot of people online with us. So moving right on. If you want to get webinar updates, and by webinar updates I mean notices for these weekly webinars, you can text your name and email to 858-208-0989, and that will put you on our list.
Right. If you're not getting the updates, we pretty much send an email an hour before and then a text message about 5 minutes before. This is the list that we use to draw questions from for next week. We are going to, at the end of this broadcast, we're going to give you a prompt to give us questions for next week. If there's anything in the past 11 episodes that we haven't covered, we definitely want to get to it. So we do take those kind of questions from that list. So if you're not already on it, please get on it.
Yeah. And now to the fun. Tip of the week. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Tip of the week, there's a little tape measure there. It's
You're
about
measuring something.
best email subject lines are short. So I've done a lot of research, I write a lot of emails, and I have really high open rates, which I know, Rick, you've seen and you can attest
Yeah,
to.
it's anything that has to do with email at open rates. I am bowing at your.
I know a little bit about what I talk about. So the best email subject lines, ideally, are 50 characters or less. People ask why 50 or less. Email display subject line areas run anywhere between 40 and 60 characters. And so if you aim for 50 characters or less, there's a really good chance that people are going to see your entire message when they open up their email. Now, some of that is, of course, dependent on how their screen is and what they're displaying.
On your email client.
On your email client, right.
But what you're saying is if you have a big, long subject line for your email that is kind of the whole thing is dependent on each other, people aren't even going to see the whole thing, so they're just going to be confused and pass it up.
And the thing is, with an email, people are going to decide whether or not to open it on the subject line. So you want them to see it, you want it to catch their attention, you want it to make them ask why or how, or I know this, or I want to prove that that's wrong. You want to pique their curiosity, basically. And you have 50 characters to do it. And if you can get them to look at that and be interested, they're going to open.
So that's even quite a bit shorter than your average text message.
Yeah.
Great.
So there's our tip of the week. Our hero of the week. Sorry for the blurry picture, that's all I could get. Hero of the week this week is Hillary. And let me tell you a little bit about Hillary. I picked her as hero of the week because she actually started her post in our forum, wondering if she should even be posting and then saying what the heck, she was going to do it anyways. So she kind of had me right there. And for that, I salute her for stepping up, having the courage to put it out there. What she did was she hooked up with a financial planner and built a campaign that he was going to use at an expo to collect names and start building his list. She put a QR code on posters, on T-shirts. She had the campaign with multiple ways for somebody to get in. After the first day, she took a look at what was going on and made adjustments because there were things she hadn't considered that weren't working the way she wanted.
Right.
She asked her customer what would be good for you in terms of results. He said, you know, somewhere around 50 leads would be awesome. She got him 70 leads, so everybody was happy. And here's the part that I love the most. She got her idea for all of this from one of our webinars.
Yes.
So she gets double kudos.
She gets double kudos. I think this is really, really interesting because it does point out most of the aspects of a successful campaign.
Yep.
Using as many of the resources as are appropriate for you, getting your client on board and enthusiastic and willing to try some of these things that maybe they're not even familiar with or not aware of. I really love this part where she got an idea beforehand about what his expectations were.
She got that from part of our webinar.
Really?
Yeah. Well, if you remember when we talked about trade shows, I did mention that I asked my client what would be good results for him. And I asked him that ahead of time. So I had a goal that I could hopefully hit. And it turns out that I did exceed my goal. And another reason why I know that she got this from our webinar, she commented that the number of people she got on her list versus the attendance was somewhere around 3%, and I had indicated that that was a pretty good return, which it is.
Yeah, I'm sure it depends on the...
It completely depends on the audience and the offer.
I think that, I mean, I always talk about managing expectations, whether it's with your staff, whether it's with your clients, really anybody. I mean, you can tell right off the bat if somebody is realistic or crazy. It also gives you, and in this case, it certainly gave Hillary something to shoot for, where it was, what was this, a 2-day or a 3-day event?
It was a single-day event.
Or a single-day event, so you said she made changes. She was making those.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It was a 2-day.
It had to be at least a 2-day based on that. So having something to shoot for there can tell you whether or not you need to make certain changes, or and I think, I don't know if she was on the ground or just talking to them, but you know, getting any feedback from from the crowd at all. One of the nice things is you have a laptop. I can access the system on my phone still, just on my regular phone's web browser. Sure, it's a little small, but it works. And you can make slight changes to the copy. You can add a phone number here, change your message, change the website, just see what people are responding to. So that the feedback is huge.
And this brings up a really good point, because you're right. Asking your client ahead of time gives you the ability to shift your campaign, but it also gives you upfront the ability to shift the expectations. Because if this guy had said to her, "Look, I want 1,000 people on my list," and she looked at the trade show and said, "There's only 2,000 people that show up here," you're going to have to be giving away a car to get something like that. It would have helped her to set the expectations. And it turns out that they were all in line. But if they weren't, she could have changed that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, if you're able to crush expectations, you should be able to see something extra on the back end.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
If she'd have said something like, if I get you 100, you double my fee or something, is that something you would do or not?
She's working on that. I have the feeling this was her first campaign.
Is that something you would do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I got them significantly more than they were expecting,
right,
I would definitely throw something like that in there. And I've helped coach some other people to do something similar. Like maybe if you're getting them more than they expect, or if you know you can get them more than they expect, maybe you work in some kind of a per lead fee.
Some kind of, or a bonus, something like that. Yeah. Fantastic. Good job, Hillary.
Yeah.
And continued good luck. Yeah, and that's in Australia. Very nice.
Oh, no, she did a great job. So, Hero of the Week, Hillary, way to go. Okay, moving on. Simple, on-demand webinars. First, the basics. This is my pirate treasure theme for the day. What is a simple, on-demand webinar? Who's it for, and why use one? Rick, do you want to address some of this, or do you want me to jump in?
Go ahead.
I'll start. So a simple on-demand webinar is a recorded video that you play for people on demand, meaning you send them an invite via email and you ask them to watch your webinar, and when they're ready they click on the link and they do. It's that easy. Now, who's it for? People often relate this with internet marketing, and I'm going to tell everybody here that it is my opinion it is for anybody. That you can use it to show new products, to train people how to use existing products, that you can use it to highlight your expertise, or shine a light on uses that people aren't aware of for your product. Essentially it can work for anybody. If you've got professional services, you can be giving away tips and ideas, for tax time if you're a tax consultant. Or if you do cosmetic surgery, maybe you have testimonials combined with discussions about the procedures. Basically anybody.
Yeah, I think it just depends on where you are in your process or how you want to use it. I mean, you can use it to build the list.
Absolutely.
Or you could use it as a bonus to some other sort of list building thing. I always talk about that it depends on whether you're trying to maximize eyeballs or opt-ins.
Yeah.
Because, if you've got a decent buy opportunity on there and it's essentially just kind of a free infomercial type of thing, then, who cares? You can just send the link to it, just do your regular Go link, and just try to maximize eyeballs watching it.
Yeah, you're right. You bring up something that I'm going to bring up later. Sorry, I just hit the button.
I always do that. I always bring up stuff you're going to bring up later.
I know. So one of the things I was going to bring up here, on the why to use one, is that you can do it to build your list, like Rick said, or you can do it to deliver some sort of bonus material. And last week we talked about experts and authors using our receipt scraper campaign. And I think webinars are an awesome way to do behind the scenes, meet the author kind of thing.
I love that stuff. That stuff works wonderful as bonuses. Huge.
It really does.
To be able to take media that you already have that you're not using in any of your paid products, to deliver that on the back end as a bonus. Really, we talk about engagement all the time, and that kind of stuff and I mean, you look at it anywhere on TV.
Right.
The behind-the-scenes shows on the reality things are as popular as
Bigger.
or bigger. That's, I mean, I don't watch very many of them, but the ones I do, I like that even better. You get people in that candid view, and it really connects.
Well, and this is because people want to connect with other people, and I say this a million times.
They especially want
a
to
week.
connect with people they see on TV or
If you give them a video, they're going to form an opinion, love you or hate you, and the people who love you are going to be raving fans.
Yeah, that is not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, in fact, most of the people that are really, really successful say it just goes with it. I mean, trying to please everybody just makes you so vanilla. It really backfires.
Right, and so when I say it's for any business, really, I believe it is for any business, because if you create a connection with somebody as a business owner, it doesn't matter if your product is the most expensive or the least expensive or the best quality or the worst quality. What they want is the connection with you. So they'll buy your products and they'll tell people how much they love your products because of the connection.
You know, one of the best users of any of our video format was Mike Lemoyne, and he sold a bunch of the grills, and he had the guy do recipes on the grill because it was a specialized grill. So they just continued to do new recipes every week or every month or whatever,
Right.
and that sold the grills.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. Really good, really perfect use of it. And again, you could do it either way. You could do it, with registration or without, to build the list or just to keep eyeballs on it. Obviously you're going to give away or provide other things if you get on the mailing list. You do want to, of course.
Yeah. It gives you the opportunity to sell more or upsell.
The upsell, yeah. If they're already in, it's an upsell. I mean, we talked about the last week. Episode 10, we talked about the receipt scraper for authors, and the whole point of that was to maximize your back end. You were selling books on the front end, but you're doing training and higher price point things on the back end, and the point of that was to get people to send the books, the book receipt in to build the list, so you can continue to engage and upsell or provide other buy opportunities to that list. It's really the point. This is a great way to do it. Like I said, the Mike Lemoyne one I think is probably the perfect illustration of how to use that.
Right. So let's talk about how to set it up. Just a couple things you need to do. I always say start with a template because it's quick and easy and things are already kind of built for you.
Yes, and we do have one.
And yeah, let me just run through these points real quick, and then we'll pull it out and show people how to set it up. Make sure you have your video ready. Create a registration page. Create some autoresponders. And then, bam, you're in business. So, Rick, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. And
are you going through? My screen is not.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I was going through. And
let me see if I'm trying to get it.
Here, there we go. So, start with the template. Get your video.
Are
you using it now?
The template.
Create a registration page. And create your autoresponders.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Now I'm going to switch it over to you so you can show people how to do it.
Okay. Do you want
inside the system?
Because we have talked in the past about registration pages. Do you want to talk about the video now, or?
No, let's show people how to set it up, and then we can talk about the video as we go.
All right. Well, I get the.
I'm switching over to Rick.
Give me 1 second here. I'll switch it over. You gotta get fun. I had the template.
And in just a moment, our system will kick over, and Rick will be able to show you what's going on his screen.
Yeah, I think it's 13. Let me check. It's 11.
Got it?
Yes.
There we go. So we're all looking at Instant Customer now.
All right. So this is my Instant Customer account. I've just gone, from the regular home page to build it, and then build it via template. Now, the new 21 Ways to Instant Customer campaign, everybody has access to, almost whatever billing package you're in. So you can usually just go up here to sort by campaign type, go to 21 Ways, and that'll get you a number of templates that are specifically built to illustrate one aspect or just one style of either capture, connecting, or closing with your audience. I'm going to use this one right here, number 11, which is the Evergreen Sales Machine. So really, this is a webinar campaign that's evergreen, so you can always send people into it. They'll always get a link, and they can always watch it.
Right.
This is, of course, assuming that you're getting them into the campaign first, and then having them join and then get a link. So if you've never been through one of our templates, I'm going to go through it real quick here, just basic information. Of course, the campaign information is brought from your profile and preferences, but it's totally changeable once it gets into the campaign. So you can put your social media information in here too. If you have your Facebook alias, your Twitter alias, it's really good to put it in here because you can put that in emails later on. For your opt-in channels, I'm always going to want to put a phone number with it. Really, I just have a toll-free one in my account right now. Let's go ahead and put one in there real quick. Really easy to, one of the best parts about the system is you can allocate a number on the fly.
It's a nice one right there.
That is a nice one. And then you can also put in a little SMS keyword. I'll do a camel case mic here. Oops.
Okay, now before you save this, I just want to tell people that if you're using a keyword that is that long, forget it. It's not going to work the majority of the time.
This is for demonstration purposes only. I don't want to take any of the good keywords that are still out there. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you obviously want to find something in that 5 to 8 character range that's unique, and it's not case sensitive, so it really doesn't matter. In this case, I'm just going to leave the default greeting. We've talked about the phone greeting before, how to change that. For email notifications, definitely going to put something in there so that I can have new subscribers. When I get a new subscriber, I can be notified of it. In this case, I'm not going to use the text. And then there is some customization here. In this case, this is asking for specific dates and times. I am going to go ahead and put that over to, I'm going to go ahead and put that to on demand, so I'm just going to skip that now. I'm going to go with Oliver's iPhone app movie for right now.
Hold here for just a sec, and we can talk about video.
Let's talk about it.
So what Rick's doing here is picking a video that's been loaded up into his media center.
Correct.
And this is the video that's going to play for people on his webinar. So all you have to do is have a video file, MP4, there's a list of the accepted formats, and load it up into the system, into your media center, so that you can select it from here. Or you can just upload it right from here.
You can. I would say best practice is to go to your media center and upload it there. That way it's available to any other campaign you have. You can upload it here. The problem is we're right in the middle of a wizard process right now, and if you've got a big video, 100 megabytes or so, and you've got some kind of weird connection and you get a timeout, it's going to blow up your whole thing.
Right.
I totally recommend that you keep the template process as smooth as possible. Get it done quickly, easily. You can always edit it. Don't worry.
100% agree with you.
So, but I would totally, even for phone numbers, I put a phone number in there. Generally, I wouldn't even do that. I would do that beforehand and then just load it. So I would preload everything in the media center in the phone number place, and then just use the template process just to load it up.
Yeah, I think for long videos, it's important to load it up through your media center.
I think it's huge.
Especially because long videos go through a conversion process when they come up into our system.
Absolutely.
And
they
you just got to sit it through it.
Yeah. I also want to say just real quick that best practice for videos are that they're made in H.264. They're encoded for fast streaming. MOV or MP4 seem to transcode the best.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do make them in H.264, they usually will play on iPads and iPhones right now. Not 100% on that, but that is your very, very best bet all the way across the board. So again, H.264, encoded for fast streaming. Keep the size of the windows down. If you make a video that's 100 1,200 by 700, it's going to be way too big. Keep that file size down to about 100 megabytes. And really the reason you're doing that is for people streaming that video over wireless or other slow connections. Keep that file size down, keep it lean, keep it 640 by 360 or something like that, and you'll do just fine.
Agreed. Now, cue points are something that I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about too. It's not, when you think of webinars, a lot of people think of just putting out a video, but the important part of a webinar is that you have a call to action, right? There's something in that video that you want people to do, either join your list or buy your product or do something. Call to action.
Move them along in your process.
Right.
Some way, anyway.
And cue points are a vital part of that. You want to explain what cue points are?
A cue point is a point in the video where a button will pop up. This way, your button isn't there from for the whole entire video. So it's not expressly a sales pitch right off the bat. So depending on how long your video is, depending on when you want this to pop up and where you want it to go, you can. I'm going to set this for 3 minutes. I know that the video I have in there is actually fairly short. I'm just going to make it go to Instant Customer right now. And if you have images uploaded into your media center, you have an option to choose them here. Here's a little bonus offer one, or you can go back to you can just go back to the generic one. But I'll go ahead and pick the bonus offer one. There is a nice little visual selector there. It shows you what the button looks like. Again, preload any buttons you might want to try, and then just load them up right here. So in this case, I'm going to pop up a button below my video at 3 minutes in, and it's going to say just bonus offer on it.
Right.
Now, in this case, it does have quite a few custom tags. We went through custom tags a couple of episodes back. If you're curious about those, please go review one of those. But for right now, I'm just going to accept the basics so we can move.
Yeah, go ahead and accept all the defaults. There's 10 of them.
And again, if you've never seen the static tags before, the point is you've got a little question and a little description up there. This is going to sort of customize the whole campaign for whatever your individual thing is. So if your answer in this white box makes sense in this little question up here, you should be just fine. But of course, you should review all of your emails before taking your campaign live. So really, just to get it started, it is very simple. This is actually a 12 autoresponder campaign, which has all kind of fun stuff there, reminders and post-event messages as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the edit the event and just double check on everything there. So I'm just going to edit my campaign. And some of you might be recognizing some different, a little different look to some of the stuff I'm doing here. So that is something that we will be going over next week. We do have some changes coming up for you, some improvements, some definite improvements for Instant Customer. That is definitely something we're going to cover next week. So if you see anything that looks a little bit different than yours does right now, that's a good thing. Don't worry, you'll be getting it very, very soon. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to my event right here, and I'm going to show you my event options. Right now, this is showing up as a recurring event. This particular template is really for recurring events. It's much more complicated. Like I said, some of those changes that we've made, these updates, are going to affect the recurring events. We'll go over that in a future webinar. For right now, I just want a really simple on-demand event. I just want something that people can go and see.
Right. And without glossing it over too much, the difference between an on-demand webinar and a recurring webinar is the schedule. On-demand means when somebody gets the link, they can go and watch it. Doesn't matter what day or week or time.
As soon as they click the link, it takes them straight there and they just watch it.
Right. And a recurring event happens at specific days and times. So it may be every Tuesday at 3 p.m., but it's only then, and it's not whenever somebody clicks on the link.
Right, and there are definite reasons to look at either one. People.
True, but today we're talking about just on-demand.
Well, let's just talk about that. So in this case, we're really just trying to make it as easy as possible for somebody to go there.
Absolutely.
Call to action, I think, is huge here. when people have on demand, sometimes they let it go. They can watch it anytime. It's not important. You can, however, mix in with your email some sort of time constraint, some sort of, if you watch this video and act by X date, you'll get a discount, you'll get something extra, you'll get a bonus.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, just totally huge.
If your email is just like, hey, whenever you get a chance, go click this link and watch it.
Doomed.
You're totally doomed.
It's doomed. People will think they can do it anytime.
And they won't.
They won't do it.
If they forget, if they put it off, they will forget.
Right.
And so what you really want to do is create a sense of urgency around your webinar, even if it's on demand. You can send them something and say, hey, look, at the end of the week, I'm pulling this down.
It goes along with that same thing that people don't value what's too easy. They don't value what they can get for free. They don't value anything without any consequences.
It's true.
All of those things we're talking about add value, add importance to it. Definitely experiment, but you're going to have to use something like that.
Let's take a look at some of these options here for the on-demands.
Absolutely, 100%. The first one is location. In this case, obviously, this isn't online. We'll talk about other things, but you could set something up for offline, which means there's really no event. All it is scheduling a time to send out reminders for anything. So interesting. That's why we do have location in there. If the event type, there is on demand, there's one time, and there is recurring. So a one-time event is just that, a one-time. We do plenty of one-time events here. Definitely you make a big deal out of those, build the biggest audience as you can, and lots of action taking points and reasons for doing one-time events. Recurring events, now this is called the Evergreen Sales Machine template. That is because really the recurring events are what Mike considers probably your best value. In almost every case, he would say do a one-time event, do it live, make a big deal out of it, record it, and then turn that into a recurring event and send people there.
Absolutely.
Whatever works for your demographic there. Media type, really there's just the video. The audio would be just for teleseminars, which people calling in, not used a lot here. The manual player is just about finished. If you use the manual, when you use the manual player, you just be embedding your own link to some other video. In this case, this is the easiest way, just online, on demand, and use the built-in.
Save and exit. Let's go through all these options.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Okay. So there's no schedule, of course.
There's no schedule because it's on demand, right? There is, however.
And for some reason, my media file did not stay. So, and this is, of course, why I go back in and edit, just to check everything. So there's a...
Okay, so there's the video you're going to play.
There's the video I'm going to play. Now, enable chat is interesting. You really don't want to use chat on demand. Video because you don't know when people are there. You'd have to have somebody manning the chat 24/7.
A really important thing is that chat should always be monitored.
Chat, yeah. Well, yeah. The last thing in the universe you want are people just there talking about your stuff without you seeing it.
Absolutely, because it will go not the way you want it to.
It will go exactly not the way you want it to. But just to show you real quick, our chat, we do use the Facebook live stream ID, so you've got to have, you've just got to take your Facebook account, make sure you get a developer stuff on there. There are definitely
moving on
instructions here, but that Facebook chat is really cool. It has some limitations, but I actually like it. It's fun. It's easy to use. It's free. Free's good.
And so
there's our cue
back
points.
at your cue points.
Everything's just right there. Everything's great. So there's
selecting a button. 3 minutes in, it's going to send them to the instantcustomer.com website.
Yep, that's it for now.
And moving on to the next option.
So we already talked about those.
And attendance actions. Now, there's two things I want to talk about here. One is attendance actions, but even before that, can we back it up to go to the opt-in channels?
Yeah. But let me continue out of there so I save my stuff.
So if you go to the opt-in channels and you go to the lead registration page, there's something we glossed over really hard here that I want people to see and use, and that is the forced registration before event. If you're doing an on-demand webinar, really you want to force people to register before you let them into the webinar so that you collect their lead information. So I would always say enable your forced registration. And because it's an on-demand webinar, the show countdown timer is not needed. But we started with a webinar that had that built in. Right. So I wanted to make sure we corrected that. And then just make sure that you force registration.
Yeah, I think forced registration can be overdone. I think it depends on what your process is here. I mean, if you're only sending people the link through them already joining the campaign, then obviously it's redundant and
really important. Yes, if the people are already in the campaign and you're sending them an on-demand webinar link, you don't need to have them register because they're already there.
What this is really for is so that you can put your Go page link anywhere. They don't even have to be like we talked about. Whether or not to send them into to optimize eyeballs versus optimizing opt-ins. This is a good way to kind of bridge that gap. So if you could just literally put your, put the link to the webinar anywhere, and if you've got the forced reg on, as soon as they hit the page, they will have to register in order to
see the
view
video.
it.
Absolutely.
So
I'll give you a good example.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a webinar and you're going to announce it maybe on your Facebook page or through your Twitter account.
And we were just talking about, we're going to talk more about some of the changes in social media next week.
Right.
So it's a nice little preview of that.
Exactly why I popped that in there.
Yeah,
but if you're going to do that, you send that link out, which is your Go link. You want to force the registration so you're capturing everybody's name and email address at a minimum.
Yeah.
All right. That's
right.
All
So that's. Yeah, a lot of it just, again, depends, think through how you're getting people there.
And now let's go back to the event options and slide all the way over to that attendance actions.
Attendance actions are really
this is where you can have some fun.
But good. Yeah, I definitely, would recommend that you guys get the regular ones up and running before you do this, and then get a chance to test this, because this is the kind of advanced stuff that allows you to move people through your process automatically, like we talked about. It's really important. It's a time saver, but it's just incredible leverage that the system has. It really is.
So if you go ahead and turn that on, you can see that there are options for if somebody doesn't show up. Now, again, that would be somebody that's already on your list but didn't go to the webinar.
And again, this is another reason for the forced reg, because as long as people are cached when they view the video, they're tracked how long they stayed on the page. So you know whether they watched. I mean, if it's on an on-demand, really, you've just got if they left earlier, if they watched the whole thing.
Right, which is what you really want to know. Somebody who stays and watches your whole event is interested in your subject and probably whatever it is you're asking them to do.
Exactly. And for the people that left early, if you can find some sort of consistency there, you can see when they're dropping off, and maybe you need to make a change in your video.
Maybe there's something wrong with the video content, or maybe that buy button shows up a little too early and pushes them away.
Maybe. Yeah.
You'll see behavior.
If you've got your buy button popping at 3 minutes and everybody drops off at 3 minutes, it looks way too much like a pitch.
Right.
Or that the pitch is no good.
Or the pitch is no good, right. It's just something they're not interested in.
Right.
So I always say if you're giving away, we say this all the time, if you're giving away good content, people are going to stick around.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if your content is good, people are going to be staying until the end of your webinar. And those people are going to want a follow-up sales pitch by email or campaign or whatever. Now, if they're sticking around to the end and you don't ask them to do anything,
you're blowing
guess what? You don't get anything.
You don't get anything. That's correct.
If they're failing just a few minutes before the end, they're probably still interested and they knew a sales pitch was coming. So the campaign that follows for them could maybe give away some more information and more slowly introduce the sales pitch, right? Or maybe the price was too high on the offer that showed up, and that's when everybody bailed. So maybe what you hit them up with is a 2-pay or 3-pay.
Yep, I've seen all of those work, and it's one of those things you really do just have to kind of practice and test and see what's working for your client or your particular product. But I've seen downsells based on that. I've seen multi-pays, or just giving more information, or I've even seen that's where people jump in and have a salesperson contact those people directly. If the auto kind of cell didn't work, then that's what they go for. But again, if we're talking about on-demand webinars, so obviously they can't be absent. Well, if they're absent, they just haven't gone there at all. They can't arrive late, so really we're just looking at the left early and if complete.
There is a possibility, yeah, that
and
left
we haven't
early.
shown them what they can do once those things are triggered.
Right, and there is the opportunity for somebody to register if you're forcing registration, and then just close the window and go away, which would, I think, in an on-demand would just register as an early dropout, right? Because the system would try to throw the video at them.
Just be a left early.
Yeah.
But the whole point of these are that you can put people then into another campaign. So let's say this is your basic opt-in, and like we were talking about, if anybody watches the whole video, we want to put them into a different follow-up campaign than somebody who left early. If somebody left early, we're separating out our cold leads from our warm leads from our hot leads
from
our Nova leads, and this is the way to go. So if they complete the video, maybe you drop them into another one has a more focus on closing a sale.
Right.
Getting a salesperson directly to them. If they left early, maybe you get them different information, a different video, something else.
Or a different offer.
Offer.
Downsell them.
Exactly.
Downsell the people that leave early.
Downsell.
Upsell the people that stay for the whole event.
Love it. But it's the kind of thing that's gathering information for you. It's going to put them in these other campaigns. You just plan out what, if somebody left you early, what would you want to do with them?
Right.
Just use their imagination, set up a campaign for that person. Bam, this will put them right into it.
Yeah.
And continue.
So that's basically how you get it set up.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
It. Let's go.
Let's go take a look at that goal link.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Get there.
Nice changes. Here's your dashboard. It's got.
Don't go over the changes yet. Just go to
I'm
the
just saying, it looks cool.
Yeah,
You've got your thing. You got how many are online. You got how many are attended. You got whether or not you're using chat, whether or not you're using cue points. Yes, I'm using cue points. No, I'm not using chat. The dashboard is important.
Not a change webinar. This is a webinar about on-demand events.
I know, but this is what they're going to see.
Get.
Okay, so I'm just going to go to my standard Go link. There you go. Link is also your webinar page.
All right, so there's our webinar.
Hey, how come my webinar's not playing? It's on demand.
Because you picked the wrong template.
No, because it's forced registration. You know that.
Well, and this template was made to have a video lead registration page. So click on that sign up now button.
It's spinning.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Because we did have the forced registration on.
Right.
So it did force me to register, and my internet connection is not fantastic.
All right, so any minute here we'll have a webinar show up, unless we've gotten stuck in the traffic of our own office.
I believe we have.
Well, we need to say that we're also using a version that is not exactly live right yet.
Right, but this is cool. Here's a template that I didn't even make a page. It already had a page.
Yep. And so, there's your video.
Really, you just have to. And there's starting right up, and there's our wonderful.
There it is.
Oliver Waller talking about our amazing iPhone app. But you'd see, everything, that's exactly how you would want it to happen. If you send somebody there to that page cold with no link, they're going to register, then I'm going to show up as, they don't get tracked.
Right.
Move to other stuff. Couldn't be any easier. I just think there's really almost zero reason why you wouldn't want to have one of these set up for almost every client on a very basic level. It just gives you one more way to move people along in that process to a buy opportunity.
I agree, and I'm about to take control away from you now and go back to our
go for it.
Website and begin our presentation. And we will be there in just a moment.
Let's see if it lets. Hey.
There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. So
we got that figured out.
That's how you get it set up. It's pretty quick and easy. Now the piece everybody probably wants to talk about troubleshooting. So we talked about forcing registration and why you would want to do that. There are not a whole lot of issues that come up around forced registration. The biggest one would be what we just saw right there, where there might be a bit of a delay between loading your video and actually clicking the submit button. I would say 99% of the time, your delay is going to be so minimal, people are not even going to recognize it. If you have a really big, heavy video, it may take a little bit. The way you could counter that is to put a note right on the page that says, please be patient while your video loads.
Yeah, it's not. I've never known it to be a huge deal. I mean, people
Yeah.
know that a video is loading at some point.
I haven't seen much of a delay ever. That was the first one I've seen in a really long time.
Nope, and they've worked out. They've really improved that force reg lately. So 100%.
Right.
I have no problem. I would totally recommend using it.
So other things you might encounter, emails for specific habits. We didn't really talk about this, but you can join people to separate campaigns, or you can send out an autoresponder email based on their activity as well. So you can send an autoresponder to everybody who completed the event, or a different autoresponder message still in that same campaign for people who left early. So you want to take a look at that?
That is, let's go over that when we go over one-time or recurring events.
Okay.
With the on-demand, I think it's not as...
I've used it recently for one that we set up for my Koenigs. And that is I just sent out 2 different messages to the list. One if you completed the whole event, and a different one if you left early. So it's basically using the same idea of joining them to another campaign.
Yeah, there are all kind of, once you have an event set, there are different options for some of your autoresponder messaging.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something we'll go over. We're out of time here, but it's definitely something we'll go over when we do some of the more complicated ones, for sure.
Right.
I just want to get people started doing them, get them set up. Again, learn the basics, get the basics down, and add to it. You can always edit anything in. You can always add to it. The problems I always see are people trying to do too much up front. They get overwhelmed and complicated.
Agreed.
Just make it simple and get results.
So how would you give somebody a replay for this event? Remember, this event is on demand. So replays are basically anytime. And what I always do is in my messages, I always put a PS. If you want to watch this webinar again, here's the link, and I just give them the Go link.
Right. Now, I would definitely recommend using the webinar event URL tag, and I think there's webinar event replay tag as well as a replay tag in there. I would definitely use those tags to make absolutely sure those people get cached and get tracked.
Right.
Unless you have the forced reg on, and again, I would send the Go link out to people outside my email list with the forced reg on. Yeah. And then to my people that are already in there, I would use the webinar event URL tag and the webinar replay tag in order to make sure they don't have to re-register when they get there.
Right. And the most important thing, I think, in troubleshooting, if you're not getting any sales after one of these webinars, and that's what your goal was, to get more sales or to get more opt-ins, if you're not getting these things after your webinar, check your call to action.
Absolutely.
Chances are good that your call to action is weak, meaning people don't know what you want them to do. It's not strong enough, the instructions aren't clear enough, or you didn't pop that message in there for long enough to have somebody put the message out or take the action.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those. I think the call to action has everything to do about expectations. I mean, if you've set up an expectation that, yes, there's going to be more here, then don't worry about it. Just do it and do a good job of it.
Right.
If this is some sort of bonus material, you don't want to make it seem like you're only given garbage bonus material in order to throw another upsell at them. I mean, you've got to deliver what you say you're delivering. If you have more, that's great. People know you have more. Come on, so just you can be slightly honest about that. You can be overly honest about it.
I think overly honest is good.
But the point being, don't mess with your people's expectations. Don't tell them you're delivering, product and you're really just sending them an upsell or pitch.
Right.
You can mix and match the two, but just make sure your call to action meets with
a clear,
expectations.
simple, bold call to action will get people to act.
I
So
totally
if it's
agree.
join my list, make sure your button isn't buy now, because that's confusing. If it's buy my product, make sure that you say, here's what I'm selling. Click and buy it. So yeah, clear call to action. And that's my troubleshooting section for today.
Those are good.
Most importantly,
troubleshooting.
you know how I feel about this one.
I have a feeling that you feel very strongly about this.
Only because I've left it in for the last 3 webinars and I refuse to take this slide out. Test it, and guess what?
Test it again?
Retest it.
Yeah, you should really be constantly testing, because even if it's working correctly, you should be testing then different,
Yeah, and looking at
somewhat
what's
different
going on.
marketing strategies.
Looking how many
That's right.
people drop off or how many people stay for the whole event. If the majority of your people drop off, either your message and your video is bad or your call to action is miserable.
Yeah, it is, it's shifting sands out there. Marketing is more surfing than it is building some machine you think is going to completely
Totally surfing
last forever.
tsunamis.
So, surfing tsunami, that's what we got the other day. But the landscape's always changing. You always want to keep up with change. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're going to talk about some Facebook changes next week, you've got to stay on top of it. And it's fun. If you get involved.
Take a couple questions before we get to our summary.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so DJ wants to know what happens when people click the buy now button.
Great point.
DJ, what did you set up in your action?
Right.
Do you still have that up on your screen?
Yeah.
I'm going to flip over to Rick and we'll show you that screen one more time. And there's a spot where you tell the system what to do if somebody clicks on the buy button. And it's in the queue.
That's what the queue
section.
points. Essentially what happens is they click the buy button, it goes to wherever you told it to
Wherever you sent
redirect to.
them.
That does
Yeah.
open up in a new window so that
Let's show them.
they don't leave your video.
So if we go to the queue points, you can see that 3 minutes in, a bonus offer button shows up, and it sends people to instantcustomer.com in this example. So wherever you put in the sales page URL, that's where people are going to go.
Right.
And like Rick said, you click on that button, it'll open a new window so people don't leave your webinar.
Yeah, this would go to your shopping cart.
Right.
Wherever your shopping cart page is, a number of different ones out there, or if you just have what other page you have, that's where it goes.
DJ says thanks. You're welcome, DJ. Mark, you have a specific question, and so I'll get back to you after the webinar. Other questions, we don't really have a whole lot of them. In fact, we've answered everything. I think, yeah, I've addressed everybody else's questions privately because they were a little off topic. All right,
You take that.
so I'm going to wrap it up with a little summary now. Can you see me? Yes?
Yep, got it.
Great. So use an on-demand webinar to show off a new product, showcase your expertise, entice people to want to know more.
Fantastic. That's a fantastic summary.
Thank you.
Yeah, that creating that kind of mystery, that kind of you want to know more, I know more, it's fantastic.
This is what my campaigns are all about.
They really are, and you do it. You do a really
Create
good job.
some intrigue and
Yeah,
get
totally.
people to want to know more.
Yeah.
That will lead to the sale. I'm not the kind of person that just stands up and says, hey, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. I want you to come to me, and I want you to ask me how you can get my services. Right? So just a quick example from the pages of Gene.
Pages of Gene.
I did a webinar, not a webinar, I did a live event this weekend, and talked a lot about using social media to market small businesses. And after the webinar, after I was done speaking, and I don't tell people during my speaking engagements how they can use me or what I could do for their business. I tell them about the subject and that's it. And it seemed like we were winding down the question round, and somebody said, oh, wait, I have one more good question. I said, great, what's your question? What could you do for our business? How can we hire you? Which is exactly the point of every campaign and everything I've tried to share here.
100%.
You keep people wanting to know more. You don't have to say, now go buy my product. And there's definitely a time and place and a style
There
that
definitely
dictates
is.
that.
There are definitely clients you're going to have that.
But the other side of
It's
that
not the only
coin
way.
is if you give away your information for free, they realize that they want you and they ask you. to sell.
I totally. I mean, I was in the live seminar business for 10 years, and consistently the thing I saw that was the most effective was people almost giving too much.
Yeah.
Because they can't do it anyway.
Right.
You can give away all this info. They're not going to run back and do it. They don't have the time. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the specifics for their business. Somebody's still going to have to go in there and do it for them, or show them, really how to make it work for them.
Which is exactly why on-demand webinars are so perfect.
Totally
because
right.
You can use them to show off your product, to show a different use for your product, to showcase your expertise, to get people to want to know more, so that they're picking up the phone and calling you. And so that call to action could be call me.
Yeah.
Or call me now.
Yep, depending on where you are, and
right.
or what the price points. There's a lot of things that go into that, but that may. I mean, if you need to close them on your own, that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Just know your own process.
Right.
And get feedback on your videos, please. I've seen some videos lately that maybe, because it doesn't matter. You can
Summary point number 2.
Yeah.
Test it before you use it. And that includes sitting somebody down with your video and then asking them, was this clear? Did it make sense? Did it make you want to buy?
Yeah, you've got to find that person that can be honest
with you
without tearing your ego apart. That's a very important person to have around.
So don't ask a spouse.
Yeah, usually not.
Ask a good friend.
Ask a good friend, but not someone that will lie to you.
Right.
But I think that's important. It doesn't really matter how your video is produced. You can use a webcam. I've seen it. You can use a webcam. You can use your phone. You can use whatever. Some of them look terrible, but they're still really good. The person still comes across. I've seen other ones. I just saw one today. It was terrible. I don't know why they would have released that. It was just...
I saw one that looked like there was an earthquake going on.
Oh, really?
It was done with a flip cam or a phone, something. And it was so shaky. And I'm not one to have any kind of motion sickness. I'll tell you,
but you did
I could not watch that whole video.
Right. So my point was, don't be afraid of the tech. You don't need... It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need a professional to come in and do it. I'm just saying that you at least have to look at how people are reacting to it, and you may have to make changes based on that.
Yeah, you should be looking at how people are reacting, and you should be really brutally, honestly asking those questions about your own campaign.
Well, your question should always be, how do I make it better? How
do I make it better? But if you're looking at your statistics and it looks like everybody's bailing out after 2 minutes,
oh yeah,
you know what? You've got some bad content.
I can say 2 minutes is about my limit. If I'm looking at a video, I'll give people at least that. And at that point, if I'm not hearing something, I'm going to go back to Oren Klaff's books, pitch, anything. If I'm not seeing something novel or something interesting, or a new take on something, or at least somebody's enthusiasm and their expertise, I'm out of there.
Well, and there's a lot of other things that it could be too. It could be that your content is just miserable. It could also be that there's some kind of a technical problem with your video.
Like you were saying,
there's no sound.
Right.
And so after 2 minutes, somebody's not going to lip read.
So another one I saw the other day wasn't synced up right. Man, people are not going to.
Right. So look at what's going on, and then ask the hard questions. Like, is it my video? Is it my content? Is it, the sound? Is something offensive here? Is it the wrong? Ask everything.
Yeah.
And then keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Don't make your call to action crazy. Don't make people go to your Facebook page and like you, and then go to your Twitter account and follow you, and then go to just one single action. Call me.
Get them to the next step and
click here and join me.
Give them a chance to buy. Give them a chance to buy your stuff.
Right.
Or your client stuff.
And my most important favorite tip always.
Your favorite or my favorite?
I think it's your favorite.
I think it's my favorite. But this formula really doesn't change. We talk about it every single time. Create campaigns, engage people, keep them wanting more. That's really just a restatement of the top there. Continue to build your knowledge base. Continue to give to get. You're going to do just fine.
We just had one more really good question that I want to slide in here before we end this.
Do it.
And Paul Graff was asking if we could explain the charges that people are getting for webinars.
You know what? That's great, because I just had that question today. It's an
awesome question that I accidentally overlooked.
Yeah, basically, this is another reason to keep your video small. I mean, there's two reasons to keep your video around 100 megabytes or less. It's basically you're charged in 10 megabyte blocks of the size of your video. So it ends up being just a little under 4 points for 100 megabytes. So
4 points per viewer.
Per viewer, which is like 5 cents or something like that.
But if you're sending it out to 4,000 people,
right,
you just need to be aware.
You absolutely.
16,000
so you'll go through, what did I say, about 4 points per, so 100 people.
For a 100 meg file.
400 points, not that much.
Right.
Yeah, if you're if you're on-demand video, can't make enough sales to justify 5 cents a person, you need to change something there.
Right.
I'm pretty sure just about anything.
It is a question that gets asked a lot, though. People wonder, like, is it just 4 cents for my entire webinar, or 4 points for my entire webinar? Is it 4 points for every single person that looks at my webinar? You know, what is it? And so basically what it is per person bandwidth usage.
Bandwidth usage. When you look at your activity log, if you go to manage it activity log, that's how it shows up.
Right.
So definitely go in, create one, watch it yourself. See how you're tracked.
Yeah.
Look at the points. The points are right there. You can modify your activity log to just show bandwidth usage,
right,
and see what that's drawing. But really, that's pretty darn cheap.
Thank you. That was the one last question that we needed to squeeze in. Now I'm going to roll off to our special offers. Rick?
Special offers, these are still available. I don't know for how much longer. In fact, the one that I would think would be the one you would want to jump on, it would be the Cross-Channel Mojo.
Yeah.
Cross-Channel Mojo, which was stopped and is now kind of reopened a little bit here, is a comprehensive training and mentorship program. It uses campaigns that are based on actual campaigns that users, the most successful users of our system, have created over the past year. You've got people with campaigns like Mike Lemoyne does a trade show one. Our wonderful Gene Scally here does a grand opening one, which could be used for restaurants or other Main Street businesses. But it is people really have created really successful campaigns. They teach you how to use it. They give you a template for it. They answer questions for it. It's an 18-week program.
Right, it's basically training and mentoring for using Instant Customer.
Right, but based on actual users.
On steroids.
Yeah, for sure. So you can check that out at crosschannelmojo.com/web.
Nice. We got someone online saying that they recently joined, so
nice.
Welcome in, yeah.
Yeah, I think, if you're looking at a fast track to get ramped up and really figure out how to do it, that's the way to go.
Right.
Already we've seen a ton of success coming out of there. If you're having trouble getting leads, now Instant Customer is great for capturing and following up with your leads. But if you're having trouble getting people to the page in the first place, that's what our sister company Traffic Geyser is for. Traffic Geyser uses video, blog, article, marketing to get people to the page, and then
awesome traffic generator.
Yeah, that is what it is for. You can get a trial of that at www.trafficgeyser.com/21day/web. That is a 21-day trial, so you can give it a shot. Really good. You can take, like we were talking about today, on-demand webinars. You can take that same one that you just uploaded here, and you can blast that thing out to, I think, 20 different video sites like YouTube and Vimeo and a whole bunch of other ones. Then
you can transcribe it and send out the...
You can transcribe it, turn that into blog posts, or turn that into articles. So that's a whole system, really it's kind of based on video, but really more expansive than that, social media as well. But it is a great way to improve your Google rankings and to just get your internet presence done at the click of a button there.
Okay, somebody just called us superstars, so I think we should wrap this up now.
I'm wrapping it up.
End on a high
one more
note.
to go. If you don't have Traffic Geyser or Instant Customer, I don't know who you would be, but maybe you don't have either one, and you're looking for the combination of both, that was Main Street Marketing Machines 2.0 Fusion. That is a combination and integrated version of Traffic
Everything
Geyser
in one spot.
and Instant Customer, so you can get the leads, capture the leads, follow up with the leads, close with the leads. MainStreetMarketingMachines.com/web for more information on that.
Awesome. Thanks for the special offers, right? And next week's going to be a really fun week.
Next week is going to be a fun week. This is actually something, we've been doing these for about 3 months, so we really...
So what we're going to do next week is we're going to revisit some past topics with some updates and some new things and changes and whatnot. So we're going to talk about campaign strategies, any changes that are coming or probably will be here by then for Instant Customer.
Yes.
That was a secret sly hint for
We've
anybody on our
hinted a couple
webinars.
times at it here.
And we're also going to talk about some of the recent changes in social media and how to use them with Instant Customer. So next week is going to be a real boots on the ground, to keep on a phrase that we keep using. It's going to be a real boots on the ground experience. And I really hope everybody can join us. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming.
Great. I think that's going to be fun.
We're also going to message everybody on our campaign list and ask you for some of your questions so that we can address them in next week's webinar.
Absolutely. So I'll be sending out. Remember, I talked earlier about the reminders list. So I'll be sending out a broadcast email to that list asking for questions, maybe something that we haven't talked about yet that we could address here, or for future topics as well.
Right. So we're going to hit that list up and get your feedback and turn it into more of our webinar.
Fantastic. Thanks everybody for coming.
See you all next week.
See you next week.
Bye.